What's going on, everybody? This is Frank with Frankly Collecting, and today we have a end of year market review of Final Fantasy TCG. We're going to be looking at some recent sales just before 2023 hits, and we're going to be focusing specifically on high grade single cards from Final Fantasy TCG. So without further ado, let's take a look. So we're starting out with a banger here with this Terra Full Art from Crystal Dominion. This is a PSA 10 that has some kind of best offer accepted under around $361. Now, I've always been a big believer in this card. I love when they take popular characters, especially mega popular characters, and give them like original illustrated designs that you only see in the card game. And I think this Terra just looks absolutely phenomenal. I think it's going to be a real classic, especially in high grade. Now, I was more bullish on this card earlier than more recently, and I think maybe the overall economy has something to do with that. But we did see a little bit more supply of this come to market and prices come down a little bit. However, I think that a safe bet right now is maybe to look for the super high grade ones, maybe CGC 9.5s and above, or PSA 10s. Here we have another classic full art, in my opinion, in this formally dressed Lightning from Opus 13. Now, I really like this card. This one here is again in PSA 10 from the same seller for some kind of best offer under $361 again. However, I think this is another one that will be really great in PSA 10 or CGC 9.5 or above. I think you just don't really see Lightning depicted like this all too often, and even though we get more Lightning cards, you kind of typically see her in her more traditional Final Fantasy 13 attire. And I really like the formal dress here, and the fact that it kind of seems to take inspiration from a Yoshitaka Amano kind of illustration. Now, looking at the card, it is a different illustrator, and the original character design is Tetsuya Nomura. However, I think it does have some kind of likening to that typical Amano style Final Fantasy illustrations that we are used to. So I think that really adds a lot of eye appeal to this one. It seems to still be commanding a pretty decent price since Opus 13's release. I believe that's Crystal Radiance. So I do think that this one will continue to stand out even as more Lightning cards come out over time. Here we have a really cool card, even though I don't think it's particularly rare. This is a Cloud in the form of Kingdom Hearts kind of garb. It's a really cool design, and I've seen it come to market pretty often. I actually think I have one of these cards over on PWCC or something like that in BGS form. But even though there's, I think, high supply on this, I think it's one that can still stand out and have a lot of demand to help counter that supply. I mean, it just looks really, really cool. You don't see Cloud in this form too often. And here, I think, is a good solution to any kind of card that could be very mass produced or have a lot of supply out there, is getting it in a particularly hard to get grade. Here we have, it looks like a pristine 10 from CGC. So, you know, this kind of card, you want to maybe even hold out and even avoid 9.5s. Go for those 10s or grab some PSA 10s. And it looks like they have some kind of best offer accepted, somewhere under $100. I think is a decent price for one in a particularly high grade. Again, go for those high grades to help set those high supply cards apart. Here's another one of those really, really cool promos, potentially higher supply, but get it in those PSA 10s, get it in those CGC 10s, and I think you'll be just fine, especially if you're just trying to grab some for your personal collection. So here we have Noctis with, I believe it is Luna from Final Fantasy 15. I haven't gotten around to finishing that one yet, but I love the character designs. And here we have one as I buy it now for $69.99. And this is just a great promo. I love how when they come out with these full art foil forms, and they even look even better than the non-full art ones that you can get in the set. And I'm not sure which one is more common or more rare, you know, the full art promos that you can just kind of get for free at certain points, or the ones that you have to pull from the set. I'd go with the one with greater eye appeal, and then again, set it apart with those high grades. Here we got another great card. Again, not sure how rare this one is. This is a starter full art foil that went in auction as a CGC Perfect 10 for $123.45. Now, perfects, I imagine, are really, really hard to get. I mean, maybe you get a few more pristines in there, but I think that a perfect would only be coming around once every so often. So I think that's a pretty good price for a potentially another, you know, high supply card, but one that will definitely be set out from its companions. Here we got a more sought after card. This is a Cloud full art, that classic scene where we get sort of his backside from Final Fantasy VII, going for almost $400 in a BGS 10 pristine, which is a pretty good high quality grade for a card that is already sought after. Again, this is, I believe, the full art Oh, no, this is not the full art. Okay, this is just a regular foil. So that one really surprises me. I would really hold out for full art cards. I would not try to get the non-full arts, even in a super high grade, because for around $400 or $500, I mean, there are definitely some full arts out there that you can get in high grade. I would just kind of personally be holding out for those. But nonetheless, maybe people are seeing Cloud in the non-full art form as maybe an alternative to go after, with the full art one being much more difficult to get. Okay, I've always been a big fan of this card. If you go watch my very first Final Fantasy TCG full art cards to watch video over my channel from way a long time ago, I think over a year ago, I had this full art Celis on my top 5 list, and here we have it going as a PSA 10 for $175. That is definitely up from its raw price. And I think that this is just a great one. I'm not personally really familiar with Celis, but I do love the eye appeal on this card. I think it just looks really nice. And I think, these kinds of cards, if you can hold out, if you can save up a little bit more to get the PSA 10s, to get those CGC 95s and above, or BGS 95s and above, that is the right way to go. Here we've got another one of those Final Fantasy 15 Noctis full art promos going for $125 as a BGS 10 Pristine. What is going on with these non-full art versions of popular characters? Here we have a Tifa. Now, this is from Opus 8, which is a little bit getting, old in terms of Final Fantasy sets, but it is a non-full art, and it went as a BGS 10. I can't tell from this picture on my screen right now if this is a perfect or a pristine, but $150. Again, for me personally, I'd rather be holding back for full art versions of my favorite characters or for popular characters. But again, we're starting to see people move in on some of these non-full art versions as, I think, alternatives, as the full arts are getting up there in price. Now, this is a non-full art I can make an exception to. This is a really nice looking Tifa from Opus 1. Now, CGC does label Wave 1 on their slabs, and this one does not say Wave 1 on it. However, I think the Wave 2 is perfectly fine for some of these cards, and especially this one went as a perfect 10, so you got all 4 10s on the subgrades there for $87 in auction, and I think this is a great pickup. I think this is probably one of the top cards from Opus 1. We do not have any full arts at this time, so I think that the Tifa, I believe this is a starter card, so I'm not sure if you get this one from the booster set or if there's a separate one that's non-starter. You can clarify that down in the comments below if you have the information to that. But I do have a copy of this card for myself. I do know it comes with non-foil, so I'll be going for the foil version, but I think it is definitely a great pickup, especially in CGC Perfect 10. Under $100, I mean, that's definitely going to set this one apart from others of its kind. If you're looking for a more accessible Tifa full art, there is a super expensive one from Opus 11, but I think this is a great alternative to go after, but get it in PSA 10 if you can. I've seen them come in CGC 10s as well, so those could be viable options, but people do want a pretty penny for those. And this is a promo from a gift set from Final Fantasy VII Advent Rising, or I forget exactly what that one was called, but this one went for around $200 as a buy it now, and that seems to be about what this card goes for in PSA 10. Now, here we get into the big money. This is the Big Chase Full Art Tifa card from Opus 11. Raw, this goes for around $500 to $600. You can see that over on TCG Player. Right here, we see it as a BGS 10 Pristine. So this is going to get a little bit more of a premium, going for $1,825 in auction. Now, I've seen this in auction in PSA 10, I believe, go for around like $1,000, or maybe it was up to like $1,400. You see people with buy it nows kind of wanting a little bit more for this card, but definitely do your research on it. And for me personally, if I was going after this card, I think I would settle for a PSA 10. I think that would have a fair amount of liquidity if I wanted to sell it at some point. But this one seems to be holding up over time as a very premium card from Final Fantasy TCG, especially when you look at the overall economic environment and the collectibles market as a overall. These prices for these full art Tifas are really holding up, and who knows what the future holds if this one can hold up. However, I think there is some risk if we get a signed version of this card coming out, like we got that Yuffie special card. Maybe that could affect this card in particular. Only time will tell, but there are definitely some alternatives to this card at the moment, so you have to make your own call when it comes to this card. Now, in my opinion, these are the most underfollowed cards from Final Fantasy TCG and some of these common full art job cards. I just think they look really nice. They always do a really good job of trying to represent the class in a very identifiable way. And you get to think about with Final Fantasy TCG, people like their favorite characters, people like their favorite jobs. And, you know, if you're a White Mage fan, you might want to pick up one of these cards for your personal collection, or a few of them, or, you know, get as many as you want. So this one came in BGS 9.5. This is a White Mage full art. There are a couple variants of the White Mage. I think there are at least 2 of them. This one went for around $100. Now, again, I think these are great pickups. You know, I love Blue Mage. I have a few of those Blue Mage job cards, and I think they have just about every job represented, if not missing a few, but I'm sure they'll have all of them represented at some point. And just go check those out. You know, I don't think they're really overpriced right now. They might be a good time to pick up some of your favorite jobs just for your personal collection. And I wonder if over time these have some upside, just being a very stable aspect of the Final Fantasy IP, and with people wanting to get their favorite job cards in their favorite art form over time. So it does look like we had a pretty high sale, higher than I remember, of this PSA 10, excuse me, of full art Tifa from Opus 11 here, going at auction for $1,625 for a PSA 10 too, not even a CGC 10. So I wonder what a CGC 9.5 would go for, probably a little bit under this. But it looks like, again, holding really strong, and this card even appears to be up, given everything else in the collectibles and in the overall market economy overall being down. So that is very impressive for this card. Here we have one of my personal favorite full arts. This is Princess Sarah from Final Fantasy 1, going for $91 in auction as a CGC 10. Pristine here. I think you can't get it perfect unless you have it with the subgrade. So I think this is pristine. And I think this is a great price. You know, I paid over $100 for mine in PSA 10 form. And I think it's just a great looking full art to get. And it's just a good reminder that some of these cards like the Tifa are really having a lot of the limelight right now. And some others, I think, like this Princess Sarah, are kind of taking a dip because people just can't pay attention to everything at once. So it may be worth going through some of the sets in Final Fantasy TCG, looking for your favorite characters, and seeing if you can't get just some of your favorites for your personal collection at a discount right now. All right, let's close it off here with what I think is an awesome promo here. I was actually speculating on this card around 2020. I only have one raw copy though, and I have the Zidane one also. This is the Road to World Championship promos. I think this Chelinka is a really awesome one. I think this one's going to hold up over the Zidane. The prices are showing that, but this one came in PSA 10 for $332.27 in auction, which I think is a very strong price, again, given the overall economic environment, collectibles as a whole. I think it's just got great eye appeal coming from Crystal Chronicles as well, which I think are really awesome, even underrated classics from the Final Fantasy franchise. And, you know, it's got her jumping here with a Moogle in hand, and it says Road to World Championship in gold lettering across the card. I don't know if we're going to see more promos like this, you know, only time will tell, but I think this is definitely a promo that is able to stand out amidst other promos over time, and I think that they are great pickups right now. Okay, that does it for my end of year 2022 Final Fantasy TCG market update. Let me know what you think about these prices down below, and tell me what you think about Final Fantasy TCG in 2023. You think it's going to stay strong, keep moving up? Are we going to keep getting more sets? Is there only a lot more life left for this game? All right, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll be seeing you in my next video. Thank you.